Hey everybody, it's Grant, and today we are going to be going over how you can survive anything in real estate, life, or in general. We have been hit by a terrible storm here in Lake Charles, Louisiana, and my properties have literally been devastated. But instead of letting it get me down, this video is going to show you how to rise above challenges like that and also make sure that you get your properties back in order, make sure your tenants are taken care of, and no matter what, never give up. So the first step to making sure your properties are okay and that you can get your rental income back to normal while also getting your tenants' lives back to normal is putting other people in front of your own self. We made sure we came back to this devastated area literally 24 hours or less since the storm. So we also had to make sure that we assess the damage to the properties. We had definitely a ton of roof damage. We had busted out windows. We had scratched siding. We had ripped off siding. We had pretty much everything that you could possibly think of. But the most positive that I can tell you about this whole situation is we came out a lot better than very many families out there that lost literally everything. Before you do anything, even before you actually get on the roofs and make them watertight, you have to assess the damage right then and there. If you don't assess the damage right then and there, the water damage might actually dry up. The adjuster doesn't come out the very next day or even the following week. Some people still haven't even had an adjuster call them. State Farm is getting a terrible rap right now because they have not gotten to their customers, and that's a major insurance carrier. So what you have to do is make sure you go in and take as many photos, as many videos, and to make sure you assess as much damage. Because my personal experience, my adjuster came and said, man, this unit looks pretty good. When I showed him the videos, it turned into a $7,000 claim after my deductible because we had to go in, redo ceilings, re-get everything together. So there's your major tip. Don't you wait. Go ahead and get started today and make sure your properties are taken care of. So the next thing that you absolutely have to do is start fixing the issues and preventing future issues. There's not gonna be a way where you get it roofed the very next day after a storm. You still can't get to where you gotta go. There's trees blocking. The entire area has no power, no water, no internet, no anything, and barely any cell signal. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna get crews to go and tarp the roofs, is what we did. We got them tarped, we got them watertight, and we also got able to start fixing those problems to where we can start getting our people back to normal. So definitely you also have to order windows and make sure that any doors or windows get ordered quickly. And the reason for that is windows can take up to 4 to 5 to 6 weeks. And that was before the illness made production a little harder and a little bit harder to get. So right here, this building wasn't very damaged, and I'm not thrilled that we still have not done what I've requested, which is to tape this up, and we couldn't get it all out. I even tried putting on gloves to yank it out, but I didn't want to slice that glass through my glove and hurt me. We are gonna have this taped today because I can't get my staff to do it, so I'll do it myself. If you can't get someone to do it, don't complain and cry about it. You go do it yourself, because the safety of your tenants is always the most important. Also right here, you'll see where we ended up having to fix the door. This door was crushed, not some vandalism because the other pane was still fine, but something had flown like a missile through it. So as you can see, we haven't painted it yet, but besides a few minor details, this property is back together, completely cleaned up. We still got a little glass to get here and there because it is every day I keep finding some, but my tenants are happy, they're thrilled with the progress, and that's all that really matters to me, as well as getting a good deal on all the repairs. So this next part is about getting the damage fixed and getting it fixed for a good deal. Here's the issue that arises with insurance, owning property, and trying to stay in business. Your tenants need their property back. Your tenants are also understanding because everybody gets hit by a storm, but here's the thing. The storm time frame and the attention span of your tenant is not as big as a homeowner that lost their house. Your tenant is your client and your customer. When you go and tarp your roofs, that's gonna cost you X amount of dollars. So for instance, for me, I could have paid someone $2 a square foot to go tarp my roofs, which is literally crazy. That would have ended up costing me $10,000 to tarp my roofs. I did it for $700 and I got my own crew, and we used my contractor so that way his insurance covered them. I paid him directly and I was hired on to be the foreman of that job to make sure I saved literally thousands. After materials, labor, and everything, we tarped all of our roofs for $1,200. Here's the thing. When you go into actually getting your properties fixed and ready, I understand that not everyone can afford crazy expenses. The average American cannot survive a $1,000 expense. So these are videos that, even though you've never had a natural disaster, some people have earthquakes, some people have fires, some people have devastating hurricanes. So you have to make sure that you are always prepared. So like I was saying, I am one of the fortunate ones to be able to save my money and to be able to reinvest back into my apartments so my tenants can be ready to go and back rented. So my advice to you is, if you might not be in that financial situation, maybe take an emergency fund aspect to this, to where you have money saved up and stored up to where in the event something happens to you, maybe not on 30 units on a catastrophic storm, but you can always have a surprise expense that you might have to remodel or just to get that unit rent ready fast. So make sure you keep that in mind. So let's talk about how much damage we actually sustained. I have 30 rental properties and 8 under construction, as you know. We also have a ton of land, which means trees fell left and right. We had a lot of debris. My personal home came out really well. We ended up having a total loss. And it makes me very sad because I worked very hard to acquire these units. So if I do have a total loss, because we have not heard back from the insurance company, hey, insurance company, if you're out there, call me back. We also had a unit that we have to gut. Now, I want to brag on my tenant right now. I offered her a unit that we actually bought in my 30th rental property video that was still vacant, and she says, no thank you, I'm going to stay in my camper, save my money, and then I'll be right back in there as soon as this is done. So I love her completely and wholeheartedly, so I did not wait on insurance company. We have already gutted, re-sheetrocked, and done tremendous amounts of work, and we start trimming it out tomorrow, and guess what? It'll be painted probably by Wednesday of the following week. I want her to be back in her unit, and the storm has happened literally tomorrow makes 1 month. So we have done a tremendous amount of work to that unit, and I filmed the whole process for you, so we'll make a separate video on that one as a mini renovation. You want to renovate your videos after they're kind of old and decrepit, not necessarily when they're brand new 2016 constructions. And all of the rest of my units were relative to minor to moderate damage. Roofs, broken windows, broken doors, water damage from the holes in the roof from the hurricane, ripped off shingles, ripped off plywood, but nothing too major. This unit here, besides the sconces and all the screens were blown off, but this one here was probably my worst damaged unit because it actually got a hole inside of the bathroom and a lot more water damage in unit 6. And he's such an amazing guy. I got it fixed in literally a week between these buildings right here and this one. Another major risk mitigation that you need to do to your properties is not just tarp, but if you have actually gotten wet insulation, it will mold and it will stay wet, and anything that sits just sitting in that ice chest environment soaking wet will literally rot and mold and cause major issues down the line. So you want to make sure you get somebody to suck the insulation out. On these 3 buildings that we're actually at, and the most damaged building that we will show you, we actually had 750 square feet between 7,000 square feet sucked out. We got our insulation sucked out and put back in for $1.50, which is literally about $700 to $800 for all of that property saving maintenance. So what an amazing feeling it is now to have all of the roofs put back onto the damaged buildings, except for our brand new Walker complex, which is going to be done next week. This unit right here ended up getting damaged pretty good as well, and the unit being damaged also made the tenant go ahead and end their lease and move out. So since then, we got right on top of it, and like I said, all 3 of these units we got fixed. We cut out ceilings, we re-tarped everything, we made sure everything was right, and now everything in this unit is fixed, ready to go, and rent ready. And guess what? We rented it just the other day. So just moments ago, the roofing crews had just packed up their trucks, threw away all the shingles, picked up all the nails from the yard, and made sure that we are now 100% not tarp watertight, but shingle watertight, and it is a great feeling to have. Everything on this property is actually fixed now, aside from this window right here, and we still have to straighten up this fence. This fence survived the best out of all of my properties because we lost at least $30,000 in fence. And so what I ended up doing was picking up fence boards from around my neighborhood, fence boards off my properties, and spent $1,000 in labor to not only clean up my properties, but to also save a ton of fence boards to be able to fix all of the holes, all of the fence that we lost, and all of that major expense. So some people would probably call me cheap whenever you're saving your gates and all of these pickets, fence boards, and everything else. You might call it cheap, but I call it frugal. So I'm gonna give you a tip on how to fix your fences, because as you can see, the fence was very, very, very much pushed over and the poles survived. And what we're gonna do is we are going to attach ratchet straps where we are gonna connect to the pole, put a eye right here, and then ratchet the fence upright, dig a hole behind it, re-pour the concrete, and reset the fence to make it as straight as possible. And it might not end up being perfect like it was, but it will absolutely get our tenants back their privacy that they have always come to enjoy. So one major mistake I have made was I didn't have my fences covered under insurance. So that's why we're doing all the creative ways to save costs by saving pickets. And right now, pickets are going for $3 per picket. So every time I pick one up, that's a $3 bill. So keep in mind when you do these things that you got to keep those things in mind. So we are here in Unit 7 where my tenant has allowed us to come in and put new insulation today. And as you can see, he is moving in with his amazing chair and his flat screen TV. He's a guy after my own heart. Another huge thing you are going to want to make sure that you pay attention to is not only make sure your fences are covered, but to also have loss of use. Because my tenant moved out from this unit on the 1st of September, maybe even the 2nd, the loss of use kicked in because we had to cut out ceilings in this unit to get it back to normal. What ended up happening with this is they now pay me up to $20,000 per building. So the total loss that I have, that rental income will not stop because of the storm. The complete gut that I have, the insurance is probably going to give me 3 to 6 months on that one. Even if we get it done in 1 month, that's what their book, their time book is saying it would take to get it fixed. This storm is going to cost about $100,000 rough estimate, because you never know once you get into something what it's going to cost you. However, most of that is because I didn't have my fences insured, and I'm going to lose probably at least $30,000 from this storm. So learn from my mistakes so you can better do your journey in the future. So for this last tip, I'm going to sit in front of the fireplace that we have in Unit 7 in front of his TV and his recliner. So what I'm going to talk to you about is mentality. So on a serious note, you've seen my videos. Since February, we've started this channel and it has literally grown astronomically compared to what I thought it would do. I very much appreciate each and every one of you. And we took a real estate portfolio from 5.3 million, and in front of you, we have now exceeded over $11 million. Once again, I am working harder, not only because I have you watching, but because I want to push myself to be the absolute best. And when you do that, sometimes you get a little stressed. This storm has shaken my resolve, but I did not allow it to shake my resolve longer than a few days. I have had tenants that have come at me crazy. I have all kinds of issues trying to get these problems fixed for my tenants when it comes to time frame, when it comes to cost, when it comes to getting it quoted, because right now people are here trying to rip you off. I saw a freaking tree quote to remove 20 trees in somebody's yard. One was sitting on the garage, not in the house, for $75,000. To get all trees removed from all of my properties, which I had about 12, maybe not as many as the other person, but it cost me $2,500. There's always somebody trying to take advantage of you. There's always something that's going to be pushing you to be stressed out and maybe want to give up. And I am here to tell you that after my resolve was shaken for a few days, I have regathered myself. My resolve is stronger than ever, and we are about to take this portfolio to the next level. So in closing, never stay rattled, because in real estate or in life, this is the exact same principles that I live by, and you're not ever going to be able to just always avoid a stressful situation or never get shook, because I was one of the ones that said I wouldn't. But I'm telling you, 31 years old now because we had a birthday during this chaos for me. And all of this chaos can definitely shake you. It might take a literal Category 4 hurricane that keeps you without power for 2 weeks, or some kind of crazy fire, or a personal issue. But never let it shake your resolve, and that's why you need to write down your goals, figure out your why, and keep pushing every single day. That's it for the video, guys. If you enjoy videos like this, please power up that like button as well as hit that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit that notification bell because we post every single Wednesday and Friday, and we put a little sprinkle here and there on Mondays and sometimes Sundays to give you a little bit more content. Thank you for all the support, all the comments, and please comment anything you'd like to see in future videos. Hope you have a fantastic afternoon, and I will see you on the next one.